Greetings, and welcome back to Doctor Who Revisited, where I go through every single episode of Doctor Who from 1963 all the way to 2022 and review them. And now we are on to the first season finale of the Jon Pertwee era of Doctor Who. Keyword being first here, Inferno. Oh my goodness. First of all, I am recording this on probably the hottest day of the year, or what will eventually be the hottest day of this year. It's 42 degrees Celsius outside. Keep that in perspective. So I'm already sweating in this scarf and coat as it is, and it really just adds to the effect of the episode Inferno, because temperature does play a pretty major role in this story. Now, having said that, just like I said a few episodes ago about the War Games, I love the introduction of the new one-off title screen of just showing us images from a volcano with the title of the episode, the name of the writers, and the number of the episode, sort of fading in and out of these pieces of imagery. I like that. I wish more Doctor Who episodes would do something similar to that, but at the same time, I understand why so few episodes do that, because that's the format of Doctor Who, of showing the name of the episode. Now, having said that, I like the setting, and I keep saying this a lot throughout the Jon Pertwee era. It's like the setting. Almost every episode in this season takes place at a different location, and that's a great and that's a great thing that the early Jon Pertwee era did. It's like, I get it. You can't travel anywhere. You can't go to other places. You can't visit other planets and other points in history. So how does the Doctor Who production team get around that? Yeah, sure. Even though he's based on Earth, every serial is in a different location in this small area of Earth where the Doctor is kind of forced to working with unit. And I like that. It keeps the grand scope of Doctor Who with the small budget that they had at the time. So I really do appreciate that. And this whole episode basically taking place in this nuclear reactor powered drill site. Perfect. Great setting. He took out the TARDIS Council and put it somewhere else. First of all, the TARDIS can do that now, apparently. Wonder how they're going to take out the TARDIS Council in some of the modern episodes where it's a bit harder to move around.
We should take Bikini Bottom and push it somewhere else!
But whatever, it's Doctor Who. It doesn't need to make that much sense in and of itself. So I like that the Doctor just basically made it a mobile lab. Like, he took the TARDIS Council out so he can take it with him to several different places and work on fixing it on location, as opposed to staying in the base the whole time, only to just drop everything that he's doing to go and help the Brigadier wherever he is. That's pretty smart now. So I like that aspect of it. I love the usage of Bessie, and even though we don't technically necessarily have the sonic screwdriver just yet, I like the door handle that the Doctor used all throughout the episode. I like that. I mean, it's sort of what the sonic screwdriver eventually became, just a way to open doors. So maybe the reason why we don't get to see the door handle again is because the sonic screwdriver just does that anyway, so we just took that function out of the door handle and added it to the sonic screwdriver. Or maybe that was the sonic screwdriver the whole time. It's just, a new model of it that all it can do is just open doors. I don't know. Moving on to some of the other human characters in this episode, I do like the human characters, in particular Sir Keith, played by Christopher Benjamin, who eventually becomes Mr. Henry Gordon Jago in later Doctor Who, but he's not Henry Gordon Jago just yet. He's just Sir Keith, and really one of two of the only rational people on this drill site. Him and that Sutton guy that just shows up because Sir Keith recommended him to show up. And on the opposite end of the spectrum, we have this other guy, Slatman, I don't know what his name is, but yeah, he's playing the generic, narrow-minded businessman who only thinks of himself and views everyone else as idiots, We've seen that a couple of times in Doctor Who by this point already, and we're going to see it a couple of times even more so in later episodes. It's a pretty generic trope at this point, but it works. What do you know? And this guy actually does that to perfection. I mean, he already knows the part that he needs to play, the actor that is, and he's doing it. So there isn't much else I can say about it. His sidekick, in a way, Patra Williams, I think she does also what she needs to do, like the loyal to a teeth. I mean, we've already seen it in the Silurians episode a couple of episodes ago anyway, so it's really not that big of a change. But I mean, these characters exist in Doctor Who, and these character archetypes need to exist in Doctor Who for these stories to be as successful as they are. So I understand why they keep showing up. They keep putting these characters in Doctor Who. It's just, again, I wish there was a bit more variety and that they were a little different from one another. I mean, we've always seen it in Fury from the Deep. We've seen this type of character in the Ice Warriors. I mean, I'm a little bummed that these characters keep showing up, but I would feel a lot better if they would make them a little more different from one another. That's all I can say for that. But I do think there is some differences that they do manage to shoehorn with this character in this story, for reasons we'll get to later, because we haven't even talked about the main hook of this episode: parallel worlds, alternate timeline. The Doctor accidentally travels into another world where everything is askew, and UNIT are all kind of bad guys, and all of Europe, all of Great Britain has been taken over by a totalitarian fascist regime. Great! I love it! I love alternate universe storylines in these sci-fi franchises. I think it opens up so many possibilities, like so many different storytelling possibilities. We get to see characters we're familiar with as something different. And I understand that a lot of times they just take these normal characters and just make them evil, and that's a little bit, generic and very not so creative. But I still like the approach that they do all the time. I love the evil versions of UNIT, the fascist version of the Brigadier and Liz Shaw and Benton again. They are so much not like their real world counterparts or the other world counterparts, and it's a great way for actors to express themselves and play different characters while still playing the same characters in a different way. It's like, it's hard to explain. I think an actor could explain it better. I think good thing I'm not an actor, but it's a great acting opportunity. It's a great storytelling opportunity. I wish more episodes of Doctor Who were based around that. Now, obviously, we did get several Doctor Who episodes taking place in a different universe with the same characters we're familiar with, playing their part a little bit differently. But I mean, this is kind of the first, and it's a great introduction to that concept that, yeah, these things can happen in Doctor Who now. And obviously, this whole alternate timeline has been further explored and expanded upon in so many other different forms of media, to the point where, yeah, in case you didn't know, the leader of the fascist regime, the dictator whose face is shown on pictures all throughout the episode, yeah, that's that universe's version of the Doctor. You're welcome, by the way. But even then, I like how the Doctor very quickly catches on to the notion that he's in another world. Probably should have happened a lot sooner, but whatever. I mean, even the Doctor has his off days, I suppose. But yeah, so and I like how he eventually manages to convince the other people to go to his side. It takes him a while, but he does manage to do that eventually, and it kind of happens with the help of the main threat of this episode, the Primords, or Primords. I've never known how to properly say their names, but I've always just called them Primords. I think that might be wrong, but I'm going to go with Primords for now, because that's the one I've been using for all these years. So if it's Primords, I apologize. But yeah, the Primords, great concept. Like, they keep getting mutated and regressed back into their feral, prehistoric states, because, humans, by this weird, mysterious goo. Like, there are so many threats and so many crises in this episode, from, the basic drilling to the ooze, to the Primords, to what eventually happens and is the reason why this episode is called Inferno to begin with. Yeah, so many different points of crises all throughout the serial, and it's really it is what you would expect from a season finale. This is such a massive scope of this episode, and it's great. I love it. I don't necessarily like the law of diminishing returns with season finales. Like every season, they got to go bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger to the point where they gone so big that the rest just fall apart and doesn't manage to capture the same level that the previous ones did. I like that these season finales are big, but they don't try to one up each other. I mean, obviously, this season's not gonna one up the War Games, and they don't really try to. It's just a big, massive story that just happens to be at the end of the season. That's great, and I like that. And I like that the Doctor uses the fire extinguishers to fight the Primords. That's some really clever deductive reasoning there. I like that the evil Brigadier just tries to plot against the Doctor this whole time. That even though the Brigadier in the regular universe trusts the Doctor, and later in the seasons he's going to trust the Doctor completely, 100%, no matter what. This Brigadier is the polar opposite of the regular Brigadier, or rather the Brigade Leader, I should say. The Brigade Leader is the polar opposite of the Brigadier, because he doesn't trust the Doctor, and he keeps trying to one-up him, and he keeps trying to force him to take them with them, even though the Doctor explains that he can't. I'm glad that the Doctor knows that he can't take them with him. I don't think it was because he would ruin the space-time continuum in the Nexus of All Realities, or whatever you want to call it, because don't know if you noticed, Doctor, you're from another universe, and you made the jump to this universe, and there was another version of you in that universe all this whole time, so clearly that doesn't happen. But I think what the Doctor really does try to do is that he doesn't want these people from this evil fascist regime in the regular universe, because he doesn't want to spoil and taint his universe. I think that's really what was going on here this whole time, and why the Doctor chose not to take the other people with him to the other universe. But I mean, that's just me. That's just a theory. You can agree or disagree all you like. But yeah, this episode is really good. I love that when they finally drill into the center of the Earth, you know, the warning that the Doctor gave everyone to begin with, all hell breaks loose, literally and figuratively. Hell itself rising from the depths of the world and cover the entire world in molten magma and lava and whatever you want to call it, and just destroy the entire planet within a couple of days, maybe even a couple of weeks. And that's kind of the last thing that the Doctor sees of that alternate world, of just everything going up in flames and the lava. And again, the effects budget being what it was at the time, I just like to imagine that the episode itself actually ended with all the lava entering into that workshop that he had the TARDIS Council in, with Bessie by his side, and just devouring the entirety of that place, everything going up in flames. The people, even though it's kind of dark and morbid, the people themselves went up in flames when the lava got to them, and he saw the destruction of that entire world, which affected him deeply when he made it back to the regular universe. And the reason I say that is because of later episodes, particularly with regards to the Mind of Evil, where the thing that kind of scares the Doctor the most is the fire that burned down that other world. And he does kind of mention it. He doesn't necessarily say that he saw this world going up in flames, but it's pretty easy to figure from what he's saying that the thing that traumatized him the most in the Mind of Evil was what he experienced in this episode, Inferno. So, again, to me, in my headcanon, all the lava went inside that little room, in that workshop, and everyone else got burned up, and that's what the Doctor witnessed, and that's what caused him to have that nightmare in the Mind of Evil. That's my truth. I'm sticking to it. But yeah, I like the Doctor once again tries to prevent what happened to the other universe happening in this universe, and once again nobody listens to him because, you know, everyone keeps relying on that Slackman Slapman, whatever his name is. It's kind of, in a way, the reverse of the Ice Warriors, because in that episode, everyone was so beholden to what the computer had to say, and they followed the computer's instructions to the letter. In this episode, it's kind of the opposite of that. They follow the Slagman guy, and the Doctor is the only, the Doctor, Liz, and even the Brigadier at a point are the only voices of reason telling them to listen to what the computer has to say, and no one does. And eventually, Slagman gets what's coming to him, gets slightly turned into a pre-mord, and is being stopped, and then his whole project gets taken down, and there's a happy ending at the end, with the Sutton guy and Petra Williams driving home together. So there is a bit of a happy ending. It's great to see that in this universe, Keith, Christopher Benjamin, actually survived the car crash, and I love the scene at the end with the interaction between the Doctor and the Brigadier, the Doctor calling him a pompous, self-opinionated idiot, and he kind of needs his help at the end. That's one of my favorite moments of interaction between the Doctor and the Brigadier, and it really just encapsulates their friendship in a nutshell. And yeah, sadly, that's the last we'll ever see of Liz Shaw on the Liz Shaw, sorry, on the TV show. But I digress. She was a really good assistant. She could have gone on for a bit longer, but she wasn't utilized properly, and I think that's one of the main reasons why Caroline John decided to move on from the show and didn't return for the next season. It is what it is, but yeah, so that's it for Inferno, and John Pertwee's first season opened with a massive, massive bang, and it only got better and better after that, because next season we got the Master making his Doctor Who debut, but that is a story for another time. I can't wait to watch those episodes and review them for you all to witness me gushing about the Master as much as I can, because he's one of my favorite characters in Doctor Who of all time, but that will have to wait for now, because as of the recording of this video, full transparency, I haven't watched the episodes yet, but I'm going to. So thank you for watching if you have, and until next time, everybody, stay safe and try to get away from the massive heat wave that is happening all over the world right now. So goodbye. Hi there. Thank you for watching the video. And if you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and tell your friends. I'll see you next time.